Servus and hello, welcome to this video where I talk about resin temperature and how it's affecting your prints. Starting off, this is at the wrong time of the year, at least for me, because I live in the northern hemisphere, around in Germany, in the middle of Germany, around Frankfurt am Main, and it's slowly starting to get warmer here, but this is especially a topic for the colder climates. It has something to do with the viscosity of our resin that we use. For starters, I mainly use Tech resins and Sculpt and Fast for the most part. Sculpt for my usual minis and Fast for prototypes. If I have a good month, I go through at least one bottle of Sculpt. It's probably hard to pick up on camera, but got a Fast Smoky Black and Sculpt Grey. At least on the product page, there is a warning, so to say, that you should print this at least 25 degrees, at least for the Sculpt. And that's even more true for something like the blue, which is very viscous, and there are even more viscous resins out there. What does heat have to do with, or temperature has to do with the viscosity of resins? Resin, as we use it, is a liquid, quite viscous liquid, and if it gets warmer, it's less viscous, meaning more fluid. So it has faster, in parentheses, curing times. If at the right temperature, the curing time is the same, but as it gets colder, you have to increase the curing time to get a successful print, which is why you can see at the start of winter, you can see a lot of posts that show a result like this, that have print failures. They started printing in the summer, everything went great. Now they have put away everything neatly, made sure that no dust collects on the printer, put the cover on it, and now they're shaking up their resin, put it in the vat, and it's quite cold, maybe like 15 degrees, like in this basement right here, and then they get a print fail, and they are frustrated, which is why this video exists. I have found this out the hard way. You may know, if you stumbled upon this video, I print as a business. I print D&D miniatures to be exact, and some figurines, and some more stuff in the near future, hopefully. So I have to print. Originally I used Elegoo resin, which did not have this problem that much, because the typical resin from OEM manufacturers like Anycubic, Elegoo, and so on and so forth, they are typically a little less viscous and kind of more easy to deal with. We are fast. It's like water. If I shake it, okay, this is fairly viscous, but if I heat it up, it will turn to essentially water, which is pretty nice, and this is high quality. The point that I'm trying to make is, if you are experiencing print fails and your room is a little cold, that means under 20 degrees, ideally your vat and the resin inside and the build plate should be at around 25 degrees. You should maybe try considering increasing the temperature. How can you do that? UV curing itself gives off warmth, not a lot, but it gives off warmth. You can put the resin bottle in warm water. I have an ultrasonic cleaner that's set to 50 degrees. I use it to remove my resin supports after the first wash. And you can stick the bottle in there, leave it for a couple of minutes. Be near the printer, because when you take the lid off and the heat is on, it evaporates. Take it out, shake it a couple of times, and then put it back in until you hear it sound like a water bottle, or near-ish a water bottle. That means it has good consistency, or viscosity, a very low viscosity. Pour it into the print and immediately start printing. Ideally, you have something like this. Build this resin enclosure. You don't have to do that, especially not this crappy way. This basement will get a remodel, and then they will get a proper and better enclosure. For starters, you can just get a grow tent. Mind you, this has no venting on it, but there's a window right there. You need to work in a well-ventilated area, and these grow tents are made to be vented, so it's fairly easy to put a fan in the back of a grow tent and then suck out all the fumes. You have to make sure that there's a negative pressure inside the enclosure when you open it up, so that all the VOCs and bad things get sucked out of your room into the outside. But make sure it's not near like windows or something that are usually open. You can also, what some people do is, there are heated vats actually. I think there's a patent on it. You can put some fermenting bands that people usually get off of Amazon. I would suggest you get it from other sources, but if that's the only thing you can do, do it. They are made to keep things warm for long times, so it's easy to keep your vat warm for longer times. You can heat a whole enclosure with heating elements. I have a water bed heater in this enclosure. I set it to 30 degrees it gets to around 20 or 25, which is mostly fine if I preheat the resin and I don't have print failures on these machines. Please don't heat your enclosures to crazy high temperatures. 30 degrees set on the heating implement, or for the vat you can do 25, is enough. If you heat it too much, you don't know what's going to happen with your parts and with your resin, because some parts break down when they are in higher temperature. 25 degrees should be doable, or 30. That's a hot room. But if you heat your enclosure to like 60 degrees, like when you're trying to print ABS, for example, it kind of gets weird very quickly, and I would not advise that. Oh, as a last quick tip, as why I use Ceratec Sculpt instead of Ceratec Fast for my minis. Ceratec Sculpt is a little more resistant and bendable than the Fast, and that's simply why. Because I print a lot of limbs, and yeah, I can show you on a giant spider that the limbs actually move, which is fine when you drop them, because they usually survive a drop from about chest high. Another short informational video. They seem to do the best on my channel. I wish you a very good day. I hope you print something and that you have no print failures. I will see you in the next video. Tschüss und auf Wiedersehen.